Craig McLachlan, check 1, 2. We'll be back with more after this. Stick around, this is live. I'm in love with a man called Steve Vizard. I'm in love with Welcome, one and all. We're live from Darling Harbour and, of course, the frozen, miserable backdrop of Sydney Harbour as it freezes over out there. It is freezing. I'm talking with Craig Hamish McLachlan.
Yeah.
What's your middle name, mate?
Oh, you rat.
No, have I touched a really ugly point
Have
here?
you been briefed about this?
No, what is your name?
Has someone mentioned it to you?
No, what is it?
This is an exclusive. I've never mentioned this on live television, but I'm going to tonight because I love you like a brother.
Oh, you thing. And you said you wouldn't mention that whole bath incident. Anyway.
Have a soft cushion for this chair? Or a cushion?
Yeah, no, right.
Dougal.
Yes, that's good.
Thank you.
Dougal McLachlan.
That's it.
The engagement.
I thought that's what you said.
To Rachel.
Yes.
Fantastic. Congratulations.
She's actually watching right now, Steve.
Would you like to send your fiancée a cheerio? Where is she?
Hi, Baba.
Where is she?
Hi, Baba.
Oh, yeah. Oh, what a pathetic... That'll wear off after about 2 months. Where is she at the moment?
She's actually in Adelaide rehearsing a late-night television program.
Okay, the whole family's in on the act. Did you give her an engagement ring?
I did give her a small planet. I don't like to about it. It's just a little thing.
We're talking.
No, I did give her a little thing. It's amazing what you can get out of vending machines nowadays.
Cheapskate. We have a segment we call Viewer Faxes, and Paul Grabowski, intro for Viewer Faxes. Daddy. Craig will now read the first viewer fax.
You know I've always wanted to do this.
Sure.
Help, Steve. I'm being held hostage in room 3505, Hilton Hotel. Desperately need your assistance.
From, and they haven't got a name.
Steve.
Oh. Well, they should go and stay at the Park Hyatt, one of the best hotels ever in the world, the Park Hyatt. Here's one. Steve, welcome to Sydney, class capital of Australia, and your audience tonight is my brother-in-law, Jim Lawton. Jimmy Lawton, stand up. Come on down, Jim Lawton. Where's Jim? Stand up. Jimbo. And his wife, Amanda, plus friends Nadine, Gary and Bronwyn. Bronwyn, who is almost a qualified aerobics instructor. Where is Bronwyn? Bronwyn, can we get Bronwyn up? And come up, Bronwyn. And come on out. As Bronwyn's coming out, and as we go to the break, Bronwyn will lead the audience in an aerobics workout. Let's go, team. Okay. Up. Oh gosh, we're having fun. Right now it's time for the latest news with Jennifer Kite.
Thank you, Steve. Hello again. Two major developments tonight underline the mounting stakes in the Middle East crisis. Australia announced a short time ago it's ready to follow other Western powers and impose sanctions against Iraq. Even more chilling, President Bush moved the United States closer to military intervention with an undertaking that President Saddam Hussein won't be allowed to retain control of Kuwait. Political correspondent Laurie Wilson says federal cabinet's decision tonight could cost wheat farmers close to $1 billion. billion. He's in our Canberra studios now. Laurie, just what has Cabinet decided?
Well, Jennifer, Cabinet's decided on a range of sanctions, an embargo on any oil imports from both Iraq and Kuwait, a ban on the sale of military equipment. We've just blocked the sale of $1 million worth of equipment to the Iraqi Air Force. There's to be a freeze on assets in this country, Kuwaiti assets, around $60 million worth of those, and if we can find any Iraqi assets in Australia as well. And most importantly, a commitment to back any United Nations Security Council resolution on other economic sanctions.
Laurie, just how much impact will that have?
Well, obviously, as part of an international effort, it will have an impact, but at a cost, I have to say, because if the UN Security Council decides, as we expect, to impose economic sanctions, and if, for instance, that includes foodstuffs, that means we'll be forgoing around $340 million a year in wheat sales. Add to that another $500 million or so that we'll probably have to kiss goodbye to, that the Iraqis owe us in what you might call back payments for wheat. And you can see, Jennifer, that the commitment by the Australian government is pretty significant indeed.
The President called in White House officials, including the Vice President and Secretary of State, as he grew outwardly impatient with the continuing occupation of Kuwait by Iraq. Earlier, the President appeared fatigued and testily refused to say just how the occupation could be ended.
Just wait. Watch and learn.
The President said Iraq had lied about leaving Kuwait Sunday. As intelligence reports indicated, Iraqis were still there. The President wants to quickly implement United Nations Chapter 7 sanctions, which include complete interruption of economic relations and joint military action, including naval blockades.
This will not stand. This will not stand, this aggression against Kuwait.
The USS Barbie steaming north inside the Gulf. With growing talk of a naval blockade to enforce sanctions against Iraq, this frigate joins 8 other American Navy vessels on station here. More are on the way. French ships are also in the Gulf, so are the British. The Gulf navigation lanes are narrow enough to make a naval blockade relatively easy. Shutting down Iraq's oil pipeline running overland through Turkey is another option. Iraqi Deputy Prime Minister Taha Ramadan has been trying to persuade Turkish President Turgut Özal to keep it open, despite mounting pressure from the US. There's a risk in blockading Iraq. Thousands of foreign workers are still in Kuwait, and over the weekend the new Iraqi-installed government issued a warning. A statement on Baghdad radio said, these countries should not expect us to act honorably at a time when they are conspiring against us.
Back home, and floods raging across the central west of New South Wales continue to cause a crisis of their own. Around Forbes in the central west, helicopters have been rescuing the sick and bringing urgent supplies to the others. Forbes itself remains closed, trapped in a slowly draining lake of murky floodwaters, but the worst is over. It's just starting for the tiny township of Bujerabong further west. The levee banks are small, the water lapping them is vast. Men and women have been working side by side over 4 days now. They think they can hold back the flood. They say they have to.
If it breaks through here, what happens?
Runs down to my house.
The army seems to have saved Warren to the north. It has ringed the town with huge levee banks, almost certainly avoiding the flood disaster suffered by nearby Nyngan earlier this wet winter. In the American state of Oregon, a massive bushfire is raging out of control. Already it has burnt out nearly 1,400 hectares and destroyed 27 homes. The man wounded in the face during a bungled raid on a Sydney home in June today appeared at an inquiry investigating the incident and contradicted evidence given by police who shot him. Outside the hearing, 24-year-old Darren Brennan described his version of events like this. Inside, he described it like this. With his left hand on the knob, he began to open the door. When the door was slightly ajar, he felt the shot to his face. He says he didn't grab anything. He didn't struggle. That's not what police say. The officer involved claims Brennan grappled with the gun and slammed the door. It's a claim backed up by 2 other police and ballistic evidence. And Adelaide police have ballistic evidence, the bullet removed from the chest of alleged war criminal Ivan Polyukovich, who was found shot on the evening of July 28th. Their refusal to disclose the evidence is fueling speculation that Polyukovich shot himself. So far, no call has been made for witnesses to come forward and no statements have been made. Polyukovic is still in intensive care in hospital. The decision on when police can speak to him is being reviewed daily. Well, soon it's goodbye from an operatic superstar. Dame Joan Sutherland is retiring in October, but first a few words for her sponsor. Today, Dame Joan called a press conference to say a few thank yous, in particular to the Australian Opera, we think.
It's a wonderful company. Pardon me.
And stars of a different circuit were breaking speeds today at the Michigan International Speedway. John Andretti came 7th, several placings ahead of a wheel he lost earlier in the race. And Steve, that's our news tonight.
Thanks very much, Jen. And what was that last story again?
I see. Really watching closely, are we?
It's just that previous story jolted me so much that I was still moved by it.
Took your attention away, huh?
What was the last story again?
That was the where the wheel came off the racing car.
Shocking thing.
Terrible.
What was Dame Joan doing in a racing car?
So you did see some of it. That's good to hear.
I saw some of it. We'll be back after the break with some front pages. Bit of a chat with Craig and we'll stick around. This is live. Welcome back. As you can see, sorry Rachel, who's watching in Adelaide, but Craig has basically found Leanne. Leanne, who's... what a crass audience we've got out the back there.
It's not what you think, Bubba. It's her birthday, and she, Steve, her birthday and
It's
stuff?
not what happened during the break, Craig. You know, it is Leanne's 21st birthday. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Leanne. Happy birthday to you. Jennifer Kite in Melbourne, would you like to say happy birthday to Leanne?
Happy birthday, Leanne. I hope you have a wonderful day. Is it today or tomorrow?
Today.
Today. It is today.
Have a great day.
It was a good line of questioning though, Jen.
Gee, thanks, Steve.
Jen, I'm sorry. Jen,
Lucky you're in Sydney.
have you got any more time for tomorrow?
Oh, I see. We've had a good time tonight.
Any of tomorrow's front pages for us, please?
Yes, Steve. Most of the papers tomorrow are leading again with the Middle East crisis and the disturbing developments there. The news of Iraq's preparations to evacuate Baghdad in anticipation of a US attack. The Daily Telegraph also has the angle about Hawke hits Iraq with sanctions. That's Australia's involvement there. And the Courier Mail, Baghdad braces for feared US invasion. The Courier Mail also has an interesting story about a rat trick. It's a story about a money-hungry rat which stole $800 from a drawer in a Maryborough service station to line its nest. The station owner has apparently found the money. It's slightly chewed, and he's since put it back in the bank.
Right. So, thank you very much, Jen. We have the weather now. The weather is to be presented by Craig wearing various hats.
Oh, really?
This is going to be really wacky. This is where you get to wear the funny hats that you didn't know about.
Oh, good.
Craig will now wear the Brisbane 22 hat.
Thank you very much.
Brisbane 22. Sydney 17, Canberra 11, Melbourne 15, Hobart 11, Adelaide 15, Perth 17, Alice Springs 21, Darwin 30, and Tumby Umby 7 5/8. Craig McLachlan. Thanks very much, Australia. We're coming to you live from Darling Harbour. Join us again tomorrow. We've got a big show live from Prince Lorenzo's house. It's a huge one. Special guest Susan Hannaford live from Prince Lorenzo's house. It should be huge. Well done, Australia. Thanks for being with us. Thanks, buddy.
This program was brought to you by General Motors Holden and Holden dealers across Australia.